Welcome, everyone. I'm really excited to dive into today's explainer. We're going to be exploring a beautifully inspiring piece of source material today. Have you ever stared at a completely blank canvas and just felt this intense pressure to paint an absolute masterpiece right out of the gate? Honestly, we treat our lives the exact same way sometimes, don't we? We think, okay, I have to create something totally flawless or I've basically failed. But what if we just flip that script? What if life isn't about perfection, but rather a canvas just waiting to be filled with as many rich, diverse colors as possible? Well, that's exactly what we're going to unpack today.
So I want you to sit with this question for a second. What if you don't live a brilliant life? Seriously, take a breath and think about that. We live in a world that is constantly, relentlessly pushing us toward extreme, overwhelming success. Right? If you aren't at the absolute top of your field, it kind of feels like society is telling you you've fallen short. But reading this question directly from our source material, man, it just instantly disarms all that anxiety. It gives us permission to just breathe. You don't have to be a blinding superstar. There's another, arguably much more beautiful way to approach your future.
So let's get right into Section 1, A Colorful Life, Gathering Colors.
Now, instead of chasing that blindingly bright light of success, the text proposes something different: gathering colors. And how do we do that? Learning. Learning is the creator of those multiple paths, directions, and colors in life. It's not just about cramming facts into your head for a test. It's about the lifelong absorption of the world around you. Think about it. Every time you learn a new skill or really understand a totally new perspective, you're adding a vibrant new color to your palette. Without learning, our canvas just stays blank. But with it, we actually get the power to decide exactly what our big picture looks like.
Now, what's really interesting about this slide is this beautifully grounded, deeply emotional excerpt from a social media post that the text highlights. So try your best to learn. Doesn't that just sound like advice from a caring older sibling? It's intimate, it's urgent, and it really sets the stage for everything else we're talking about. The author isn't telling us to learn so we can get rich quick. Nope, they're telling us to learn because life is entirely unpredictable, and learning is literally our best way to prepare ourselves for whatever comes.
Which brings us perfectly to Section 2, The Armor Against Failure, Building an Internal Defense System.
Okay, so before your learning can help anyone else, it really has to protect you first. Think of these colors as thick, solid layers of armor against life's crazy unpredictability. The source lists 5 distinct internal traits that stack together. Let's walk through them. First, knowledge in your head. That's your intellect and logic. Second, skill in your hands, your practical, boots-on-the-ground capability to execute. Third, strength in your heart, your emotional resilience. Fourth, love in your life, representing empathy and true connection. And finally, belief in your awareness, which is a really grounded sense of truth. If you actively cultivate these 5 things, you are basically weaving an impenetrable chainmail of character.
And when you're armed with all of that deep knowledge, practical skill, inner strength, love, and core belief, honestly, how could you easily fail? It's a pretty brilliant realization. We usually think of failure as losing a job or messing up a project, but true failure is being empty internally. If your internal world is painted with these vibrant colors, failing completely becomes incredibly difficult. Sure, you might stumble, we all do, but you simply have way too many tools at your disposal to just stay down.
Let's move to Section 3, A Pillar for the Family. We're going to see how this builds into supporting your loved ones.
Personal resilience is fantastic, absolutely. But the ultimate purpose of building this colorful self isn't just for you. It's to become a pillar for your family, especially parents. There's a really profound cultural reverence in this part of the source material. As we grow stronger and more capable, the people who raised us are naturally growing older and more vulnerable. And the ultimate reward of all that armor building we just talked about? It's being able to be a solid rock for our aging parents during hard times. The colors we gather actually become the light we get to shine on others.
Have you ever been in a crisis with a loved one and felt that crushing, awful helplessness where tears are literally all you have to offer? It's a paralyzing feeling. The author contrasts that helplessness with the immense, game-changing empowerment of actually being able to step up in a crisis, to be able to say, besides tears, we also have, and then actually provide real, tangible solutions. This right here is the true difference between having an empty canvas and a colorful one when it matters the most. So, what exactly do we have to offer when we say we also have? The source methodically unpacks these external colors of support. We've got money, practical, necessary financial help. Relationships, a strong network you can call upon for assistance. Vast love, that boundless emotional support. willpower and knowledge, the actual tools to navigate complex problems. The strength to accept, which is the maturity to face bad news without completely crumbling. And finally, a calm mind, being that anchor of peace when everyone else is panicking. These are the vibrant colors you can paint onto your family's darkest days.
So the crucial point is, where does this all come from? That brings us to Section 4, School and Life, the two classrooms. Where do we actually get the paint to build this incredibly colorful life? Well, the source makes it crystal clear. It requires active, intentional engagement with two very distinct classrooms, learning in school and learning in life. True colorfulness absolutely requires both. School gives us that foundational knowledge in our heads, right? But life, the real world, with all its messiness and unpredictability, that is where we truly learn emotional strength and how to keep a calm mind. So I'll leave you with this. Are you actively learning in both of these arenas? Because your canvas and your family are waiting. Thank you so much for joining me on this explainer today. And whatever you do, just keep learning.